What do you think about the keto space?
I think in a way keto is expanding to some degree, because we're seeing a lot of mental health stuff coming out now. Right. So I think we're just seeing a transition away from just the pure weight loss portion, which is what keto has been for most. I mean, that's what most people consider a ketogenic diet just a weight loss diet, right? Mm-hmm. And not a treatment algorithm for outside of epilepsy. But now we're seeing this increased utility in depression, bipolar disorder. And it's kind of what I see with carnivore. I mean, carnivore has been kind of a almost panacea-like in the conditions it's been able to prove. So
yeah, it's interesting that recent study. I can't remember if it was Stanford or what. It was out of the UK Biobank, I believe, looking at the keto diet for depression, finding people that adhere to that. And so many studies now are finding that vegan and vegetarian leaning individuals suffer from more mental health issues, suicidal ideation, everything like that. So I didn't listen to the episode you did with Rogan. What was some of the highlights you guys talked about?
Well, it's funny because when I went on Rogan in 2017, I told him I'm just eating meat. Mm-hmm. You could tell he thought I was crazy, and I could sense it in a room. Mm-hmm. When I came back in, in 2023, just a few months ago, he was like, "Dude, everybody I know on a carnivore diet's doing wonderful. I can't believe how good this is." So he was selling it more than I was, which is kind of funny. We talked about, one of the things we talked about was the fact that, USDA is now saying that, processed food can be healthy. In that study that I think it was called the NOVA study, where they're trying to demonstrate that 91% processed food diet could be healthy, and he was pretty incredibly surprised by that. We talked a little bit about politics. He wanted to talk about the presidential elections, and we talked about the company Revero, what we're doing with that. So.
And what are you guys doing with that?
So Revero is a digital health platform. It's we have medical doctors that treat patients, all 50 states. And the mission is basically fix their metabolic health, get them off meds, treat a lot of diseases via nutritional modulation and lifestyle things, which is how medicine should be practiced. Right. I mean, as a first line. All these drugs and stuff should be a last resort, whereas today we just become this sick care system, diagnose and drug everybody and ad infinitum, which is not good for anybody.
Right.
Well, not good. There's an exception. The people that make money off it are doing very well by that system.
Yeah, no, I agree. What do you think about the rise in dementia now? It seems that dementia is afflicting so many people over the age of 60.
Yeah, dementia care I think is probably directly related to all the metabolic health issues we have. Diabetes, obesity. We're seeing you can actually visualize dementia, or the beginnings of dementia in 30-year-olds. I mean, you can do functional MRIs and PET scans, and you can see their altered glucose metabolism, which is what's in part happening. So
yeah.
And it's incredibly expensive to treat. There's a devastating illness. You can imagine if you're a college kid, you get your first job, have a baby, and then all of a sudden your 50-year-old mom is now demented. What do you do?
Oh, it's really sad. What do you make of this rise of young people getting cancer, so-called early onset cancer?
Well, we're basically poisoning ourselves with the food supply. Yeah. I mean, it's like I said, irrespective of any sort of biohacks, supplements, peptides, whatever you think is beneficial, if you don't stop poisoning yourself, it's all a waste of time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What's interesting is you've been talking about fiber for a long time, how it's probably less is more, especially if you have GI issues. It's pretty interesting, the fiber-free diet studies, looking at people who minimize fiber consumption, and if they have constipation, gas, bloating, diarrhea, it tends to improve it. But some people in those trials go back on high fiber diets and their gastrointestinal issues come back. Yeah. So do you think fiber serves any role favorably?
Well, I think it's conditionally beneficial. It depends in the context of what diet, right? In the context of standard Western diet, eat more fiber. It's kind of interesting. I just looked at a study from 1978 comparing high fiber to low fiber, and they examined stool weight. Of course, the stools are about 3 times bigger with fiber. What was really interesting to me was that there was more than a doubling of the nutrition that was lost into the feces by consuming fiber. So protein, fat, even carbohydrates are washed out of your system, so you don't absorb them. So maybe, good for weight loss, but not good for nutrition. Like I said, I eat to nourish my body. I don't eat to make expensive poop, right? That's what a high fiber diet may be doing in a way. There are now studies that we see where fiber is actually exacerbating disease. Like there's a nice study from last year on rheumatoid arthritis showing that high fiber diet actually made it worse. And they suspect it was due to interactions with a gut bacteria called Prevotella, which was a particular subspecies of that. And so, Tommy Wood, who's up here, I don't know if you're Tommy, he's done research with another PhD, Lucy Mailing, on the metabolic flexibility of the gut, and they showed that while the purported benefits of fiber are the creation of diverse. It's short chain fatty acids made by these things, these various microbes, and they show that the gut is actually very metabolically flexible, and so we can do very well with a diet like this, and gut is healthy and happy and doing everything it's supposed to do. So, I think it is. Like I said, if you are wanting to find one way to lose weight, a high fiber diet is a way to do it. Maybe you're bloated, maybe you lose a lot of nutrition, but you don't get fat. Is that optimal? If it comes to retaining lean mass and that type of stuff, I assume if you eat lots of protein and a high fiber diet, like a bodybuilder diet, then you can, obviously you can maintain muscle, and of course you do the training, which is the most important part of all this. But if it's essential, I should be dead. I don't need it. Right. So, yeah.
Because you started in 2015 or 2016?
2016. Well, yeah. Was it 2016? Yeah, 2016 is when I started,
yeah. So when that study with high fiber diets and increased nutrient content in the stool, are we talking about micronutrients, say magnesium, selenium, things like that, or even, say, carbohydrates and so on?
So what I saw was just macronutrient composition, so fat, protein, and carbohydrate. So, but the assumption would be a lot of that. All the micronutrients are also going to be lost in there. So.
Yeah. Huh.
Well, we already know that.
Iron, maybe, for example.
A lot of plant high fiber foods are very, the bioavailability is much less than it would be in an animal source. And in fact, a lot of people will talk about, well, we've got all these important phytochemicals or phytonutrients that you'd miss out on a diet like this. But it's interesting, there's a really nice study that Stefan Van Vliet did in 2021, I think, shows that meat is actually loaded with phytonutrients. The cows, beef has something like 70,000 unique nutritional compounds, and they have polyphenols, they have tannins, they have all these things that the animal actually eats and concentrates within its flesh. And so we get it, and it's also more bioavailable for us. And so that's a pretty interesting finding, because you're thinking, well, I need to eat whatever, grapes for tannins, I need to eat, whatever, olive oil for polyphenols. I'm like, it's here.
Yeah, so. Interesting. I'll have to look into that. That's a fascinating study.
Yeah, I can share that study with you.
Yeah. No, it's super cool. What do you say to people who might get bored of just eating steak?
Something else, I guess,
Switch it up, do eggs.
Yeah, if you want to stay carnivore, there's a lot of things. There are literally thousands of ways you can prepare meat and different animal products. If you want to do that, it's, I'm not dogmatic, but I don't, like I said, if you want to take a break and go eat fruit for a week or whatever, go for it. I eat this because I feel good and I enjoy it. This is a delicious meal. My dogs wish they could have some. They'll get their meat here in a little bit.
Are they mostly doing ground beef?
Same with mine.
That's easy, simple. They love it.
Yeah.
I feed them to them raw.
Yeah, same.
And they're happy. They're happy dogs.
Well, and speaking of losing nutrients in stool, if you look at dogs who eat mainstream dog food, their craps are like this big. They're really, it's like, what are you absorbing from that? It's just so much, it's like in one end, out the other. My dogs that eat raw meat, their poops are small and sometimes dry, because they have bones as well. But it doesn't smell like.
Yeah, these guys, this little guy's that much poop comes out of him, and she only poops like every other second day or third day, so it's a hell of a lot easier to have to deal with, when you're not, you have these giant landmines of poop.
Oh yeah, and it stinks, the dog food.
Well, they fart and they scratch and itch, and their eyes get dull. They get cataracts and brain tumors and
issues and
all that stuff. Yeah. It's amazing, like I said, if you try it on your dog, see what happens to your dog.
Right.
It's obvious. Particularly if you got an old dog that's like arthritic and decrepit, and you put them on carnivore, and all of a sudden they're like,
bam,
their tail starts wagging and they're happy.
Yeah.
Shawn, thanks for having us over. Great to connect with you again. If folks want to follow you, obviously it's Shawn Baker on Instagram and so forth, and ReveroHealth.com.
So Revero.com is Revero, and then I'm on Shawn Baker 1967 on Instagram, YouTube, Shawn Baker MD.
Yeah.
What else? Twitter or X, S Baker MD. So
Nice.
yeah,
Awesome. Appreciate you coming on. Thanks for having us over. That was awesome.
good workout. Thanks for having me, man.
Are you taking electrolytes made from a company selling fake salt? Yeah, the sad reality is most commercial electrolyte products feature salt that is derived from artificial salt brines that lack important trace minerals that have health benefits. Here at Myoscience, we do not source our salt from artificial salt brines. We use Redmond Real Salt, which is hand harvested outside of Salt Lake City, Utah. In addition, we also feature Albion chelated minerals like potassium and magnesium, chelated to important cofactors that improve mitochondrial function and support metabolic health. But above all else, what makes the Myoscience electrolytes different from all the other products out there is we pair creatine with the electrolyte salts. It's been long known that creatine helps support healthy hydration. But what's also important to recognize is the creatine form in the Myoscience electrolytes has been upgraded. We are now featuring the CreaPure material from Germany.